VR is dead. Or so that is what one can think when they see the recent news. It doesn't take much research to find out there are definitely things going off the rails here and there. From cancelling the entirety of a well-loved game to large companies firing thousands upon thousands of talented VR enthusiasts. This year already looks pretty bad if we take it at face value. And I'm not gonna lie, I too have been pretty upset here and there with decisions taken by large companies that obviously have a huge footing in the space of VR, making me feel like I am talking to a wall when I want to rant about how bloody awesome everything is that you can do with VR. But if we dig just a little deeper, we can find that it is far from over. Not only have we heard it all before a couple of times in the past and have bounced back with more development in due time, we also still see glimpses of hope for the future of this niche. New headset releases, awesome game developments, and ever-growing popularity among different brands in the space of XR can be hard to find at times, but these are part of many ongoing ways that the community can grow. And a growing user base is often a very good thing. For instance, for every new user in the VR space, there is another reason for companies and developers to target a niche. Not to mention, those new users can potentially get so enthusiastic about VR that they themselves develop skills and interests that further help grow the VR niche. And we all started somewhere, right? I mean, I remember the first time I assembled a Google Cardboard, and as much as that was a pixel barf fest at times, it also showed me what could be, all while using hardware everyone already had at the time, making the step into VR still the cheapest until today. This then started snowballing me into yearning for the upcoming Oculus Rift at the time, and before I knew it, I was waving my arms and legs around in VR chat. Anyone can become an enthusiast, but we all have to start with our first experience. And the choice for that first experience can be pretty difficult. It isn't as straightforward as something like a mass consumer product that you can try at your local stores. I personally found it pretty difficult, in fact, to find a way of trying the Valve Index when I was looking to buy one, having to rely on friends to see if I could try one out. Combine this with the hefty prices of the newest VR hardware, and your options start to diminish, and the entry level for the VR niche starts to look somewhat unreachable, unless you are willing to take the risk. But what if I told you that even in the darkest of times, there are companies in the space of VR doing their best to provide a first experience to new users and drive them towards buying their own headsets? Companies that strive to give other people that spark to get them interested in VR and to help grow the ever-growing user base. Now I can imagine that there are many people out there that would be amazed at what VR is capable of if they never tried it before. Whether you go to a dedicated arcade or even just lend them an Oculus Quest. But sadly, there isn't a store around here that lets you straight up try different VR headsets to see what you think of even the concept. And with arcades being in limited numbers and most of them having set it up in a way that really makes you feel like you are going for an evening activity like karting or bowling, the place where I work on my weekends, for instance, offers something a little extra. It offers the freedom to try what game you want to try with who you want to try it with. Nothing super fancy to hype up the senses like motion control rigs or haptic suits, but just the perfect example of what anyone could potentially buy themselves after this experience. You get to do what you want and experiment with different games while chilling with your friends in the same room. It feels a lot less like going out for a night of bowling and more like renting the living room of a VR enthusiast. It doesn't surprise me then that there are many people getting wowed by VR, all while realizing this technology is more consumer friendly than they think. I have heard plenty of people thinking that these computers and headsets cost thousands of euros, but when I tell them they could get an Oculus Quest at home for a lot less than they thought, they are pleasantly surprised and immediately look them up. And I agree, this company should upgrade their headsets sometime, as these CV1s are hitting their 7-year anniversary, but it does mean they can only be more impressed by what they buy after this experience, potentially making people even more excited. This place really does help grow the interest in VR bit by bit, and has probably led to dozens of people getting their footing in the community after trying it out here for the first time. And I am sure Enjoy VR isn't the only company working towards growing the general interest in VR or helping out by establishing more reasons for people to try it out. There are so many talented developers, driven enthusiasts eager to learn, and businesses trying to expand popularity amongst new users. We have all heard the opinions before. Even in my short 25 years of living, I have gone through stages of hope and despair within the VR niche. But I've always seen the community at heart stay strong. Somehow, it always comes back right side up, and somehow during the time that I've been alive, we have reached this point that 14-year-old Michael would have never believed to be here so soon. It is amazing how many passionate and talented people are involved with this niche, and I am sure even many of the unfortunate ex-employees will find their footing and can plant their flag again to help grow and develop this crazy VR world. VR has got its legs. It just needs to start running, but all in due time.